The fact that I have to bring, will he, won't he, show a little skin. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is After Wine School. I'm Keith Wallace, and with me today, as always, is Alana Zerby. Welcome.
Welcome.
It's good to see you today.
Same.
All right. Well, hey, today we are talking about something very specific. It's about branding. What branding is in wine, how it's completely changing, and how what the wine industry may actually be nearly out of date right now.
Yeah, we have some nice little insights that we were talking about earlier today, and we would love to share them with you as always. So when you think about historically how wine has been marketed, it can all be collapsed into one concept: prestige and hierarchy. So what are the tiers? What's the best? And then everything radiates out from there. So a seminal example, of course, is the classification of 1855. The whole darn thing was based on price. What were the highest priced wines in 1855 in Bordeaux?
Exactly.
Contrast that with Burgundy. Burgundy was ranking vineyard plots, but still from the perspective of what's the highest quality plot to the least. So again, another hierarchy. And then Napa in the 20th century tries to beat out Burgundy and Bordeaux on both measures. What's the most expensive and what is the most exclusive?
Yeah, they really did that too. It was really funny because to this day, everyone, when you hear of the 1855 Grand Cru Class A classifications, everyone thinks it's so fancy. And then you realize that the people who did it were just the salespeople and the brokers, and they just figured it out by price. Like what everything was.
The negociants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, how much is everything costing right now? All right, okay, we'll organize it that way. And that was it. It's an odd way of organizing, but it is stuck for now a couple centuries now.
So very rigid, very top down.
So historically, marketing and branding all comes down to a few things. One, we've talked about some of this in the past. Heavy bottles, beautiful labels, the scarcity model, right? Fake scarcity is one of my least favorite tricks, but something that we do all the time. When I was running a small distributorship, we would allow people only have one or two cases of a specific wine. We did that all the time. And just so that wine shop, like, oh my God, we can only get this. And then they tell their customers, and then that sells out in a day. And if we had given them more wine, it would just sat on the shelf. Very common, dirty trick. But
allocation.
Yeah, absolutely. And then negotiating for shelf space, making sure that yours is on the higher shelves, which is how it all used to be done. So that's right above eye level, or just a little bit above, just to give you the idea that that's actually one of the best wines. This is the tricks of our trade, or just like the grocery store chain tricks as well. This is not uncommon, but in the wine trade, it is very important, along with the fact that we've always had wine critics. And those critics have been so important on driving sales. And so we talked about this before, where actually there's been points where a critic has been so important that the entire industry is actually making wine specifically for their palate, and therefore changing the entire industry. That happened in the 90s.
A critic has been so important an entire country sued them.
Yeah, that's right.
Critic.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's a great segue, Keith, because we are moving into this new era where the old techniques are just not working. And so we are now in a space where people are online and their digital lives are just as important as their IRLs, their real life.
Yeah. Yes.
And so in this space, there has to be this pivot to digitization and to greater social media engagement. And that is really tough for the wine industry. And it kind of is specific to wine. The beverage industry as a whole, liquor companies are allocating over 50% of their ad budget to digital.
Yes.
And wine companies, by the same token, are allocating less than 5%. So it's hard for people to let go of their reliance on shelf space, on packaging, the catchy labels, on courting critics, these gatekeepers who are going to tell the masses what to drink. That's not the world that we inhabit anymore.
It really is not. And it's interesting because wineries, I always have to point out, are farmers. They're run by farmers, very smart, well-educated farmers, but still farmers. And that means we are actually on a cycle that is a year, 10 years, 20 years, not a 15-second TikTok hit. Like, we just don't think in that way. And so what you have is, well, this has always worked. Let's just keep doing this, but it doesn't work anymore. And so what you see are some larger companies or new companies doing very interesting things. So that 5% really encapsulates innovators, and everyone else is doing much less than that. Like, for instance, Penfolds, well-known, famous Australian producer. They make the Grange. It's one of the great wines in the world. Now, they focus really on their online digital platforms. And it is not just one platform. It's multiple platforms designed to give people, in almost any language you can imagine, a personalized experience, and trying to give it that direct-to-consumer touch, doing that virtually. And they've done an incredibly good job. We're seeing significant increases in sales, even in a market that's in a downward swing right now, a little bit of a compression. So even then, they're seeing the opposite, which is very interesting. You also have companies like Naked Wine. Now, they started off with VC money, venture capital money, and they're direct to consumer. This is interesting in the wine trade. Trying to get direct to consumer is hard to do, largely because we're all used to actually selling our things to a distributor. The distributor sells to a wine shop or a restaurant. And we're used to this system of hands off. And also, that's how the laws are written since Prohibition. So you have Naked Wine, going back to them. They have developed all of these brands and bringing in all these winemakers and doing interesting things. And they have zero, impact on critics or in wine shops or anywhere else you expect to see wine. They are just a website and a social media platform, and they're incredibly successful. One of the most successful wine companies I've ever seen, and very quickly too. Beloved, absolutely beloved, with a lot of interesting wines, all very good values. But also, I got to point out, is that branding is actually how you present yourself to the consumer. And putting yourself right there in front of the consumer, that's a hard thing for a lot of wine and people to do. It first started, actually, and I could talk about ourselves, actually, to be honest. Before the National Wine School, there was the Wine School of Philadelphia, and that started around 2001. At the same time that the internet was really taking hold. The very first thing I did was I actually bought a domain name. I taught myself how to hand-build a website. You can, you can still see it. It's on the Wayback Machine. It's still a part of the record of the internet.
Scroll down for ages. It was never ending scroll down.
I wasn't really good at coding yet. It was clunky. Yeah, it was scroll,
It was more than other people have.
Oh, yeah. Because you could actually register for classes online. You could contact us. We had articles you could read. We had presence, and we became very quickly one of the most widely searched. So this is SEO, right? Search engine optimization. So we always had a good website to get people to see us and to actually say, oh, hey, maybe I want to come to a class. Maybe I want to take a small A course. And now, though, we do a podcast. We now have a TikTok account where when I say something dumb, silly, obscene, it ends up on that TikTok account. We have our Instagram. We have, Facebook. We know that we actually have to have that connection because that's where people are. And they always want that human connection. Now, there's a lot of success stories. And like, for instance, I have the one that I'll always love it's Yellowtail, because I was involved in a very peripheral way in actually its launch. And so I got to see everything happening and how it wasn't just a few people being touched and contacted. It was like everybody in the wine trade throughout the entire country. And, so many people were involved. And then all of a sudden, all the marketing happened, and all the people who had been deeply influenced by the money underneath this, just all of a sudden, and it took control of the American marketplace. And now it's kind of a joke. You didn't realize the before and the after of that. It was amazing.
It's hard to capture.
It's impossible to capture that.
I tell my students, I remember the marketing campaign. Yeah. I remember the lizard papering the bus stops. Yeah. And it was something fresh and new and exciting. Yeah. And they got such buy-in from the most influential people.
Yes.
That the most common thing you heard about Yellowtail, it was from someone whose opinion you respected.
Yes.
And you would hear them say, I know this sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but it's really good.
And because it was engineered to be good. I mean, everything about it was brilliant execution. Now, that's a very high level, but the other way of doing this is grower champagne producers. They didn't have the money, obviously. These are small producers, but they band together and they actually had dinners and events with sommeliers and other influential people in the wine trade at a time when no one had even heard the term grower champagne. Like, this wasn't something people talked about. And this was at about the same time when Yellowtail was doing their massive campaign. They were doing a much more small scale dinners in Manhattan, dinners in Chicago. And it worked really well because all of a sudden you started seeing this, because people don't realize that how things become popular in the wine trade. They're trying to connect with you, but not to you directly. They're connecting to the influencers. So it was the wine bars, owners of wine shops,
Importers.
also people like us. Like, we would see these things a lot. But the hard piece is that is actually changing now. One of the things I've noticed over time is that, especially since the rise of social media, we actually see less wineries, less wine regions trying to influence people like me or sommeliers or even restaurant or wine critics. The money isn't focused on these people. It's focused on the influencers on social media.
Right. So traditionally, the paradigm was focus on the gatekeepers.
Right, exactly.
Focus on the people whose opinions were their currency and had wide reach.
Yes.
Now it's about bypassing them. And I think you actually get more credit for bypassing the critics model in some ways and going right to the consumer through social media. So that's the future, a collapse of this hierarchical industry.
Oh, yeah. And so where now creativity reigns, where you can speak directly to consumers, now we can start a conversation with the people who are just interested. That's a completely different paradigm. And it's a tough one for an industry filled with farmers to get their head around.
Yes. Well, I thought it would be fun to talk about some favorite brands that we have, and then some favorite and not so favorite marketing techniques, just from a personal level, from what we have seen.
Oh, that's great.
So I wanted to say, when it comes to brands in wine,
Yeah.
I have a couple favorites, and I know you co-sign my first pick, which is Tablas Creek.
Oh, they're awesome.
Tablas Creek is such a great brand. When I see Tablas Creek, I think of the wonderful family relationship between the owners of Tablas Creek and Beaucastel, that it is a multi-generational winery, but not just that. The fact that when they brought vines over from France, they sponsored that and then shared everything with the industry.
Oh, yeah.
And they are always literally sharing the stage with industry partners. They are always promoting the community, people around them. And they don't have to be that humble, and most people in wine are not that humble.
No, yeah.
So, I mean, their shit is so good.
Oh, their shit is so good. I know.
I've never had a bottle that I didn't love.
Yeah.
The way they present themselves, the way they position themselves is one among many. Kudos to what they've done for Paso Robles. It's just wonderful.
It is, especially for their sector of Paso Robles. They fundamentally changed how people think of that area. And smart. It's stealth marketing. Yeah, no, they're the first citizen, among...
Yeah. The other brand that I really love, that it just kind of makes me feel good when I see it, is Kathy Corazon.
Yeah,
Napa
awesome.
cab winemaker.
Yeah.
She's so old school, and she is just authentically herself, and it comes through in everything she does. She has a point of view. She stands by it decade after decade.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I love that. So when you can really picture somebody, you like that person, and they're true to who they are, and that comes through in everything they do. That's just wonderful.
I like that. Actually, her wines, if I ever want to show the history of California Cabernet, Napa cabs, yeah, hers is one of the ones I show for like that classic 1980s style before they started getting so overblown. And yeah, I know, I agree.
No, she should get a lot more love than she does. She's very beloved, but...
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go with Charles Smith. Now, Charles Smith, former rock and roll roadie, turned like this winemaking impresario. He does a lot of things really right. Well, first off, on the high level, he's producing wines in a place in Columbia Valley, Washington, that is, not overhyped. It's not overly sought after. So he has his work cut out for him. But he also makes just phenomenal wines. And not just a few of them, multiple different brands and labels. So serious wines, like his K wines, his substance wine, and a few others, but a lot of different price points too. But all of them are extraordinarily well made. So he does a really good job on multiple different labels, different brands, different price points. But each one of those brands and each one of those labels is just perfectly authentic and awesome. It sells itself. So when you look at it, you actually know what it is. Like K Vintners, it looks edgy and raw, but also classy. And like, oh, this is something, like when I saw those wines, I saw that bottle and said, oh, that's made for me. But then I saw his more like $15, $20. So in that price point, I saw those like, oh yeah, oh, those are made for me too. And they were. He's my favorite for how he brands and the execution of it.
And longevity. I mean, really cycled through many trends, many styles, and has been consistent.
Absolutely consistent. He has put some of his wines under his own, like, Charles Smith label, but very, very few of them. And for the most part, you just don't know that this one badass dude doing all of this. Hardest working dude and happy as can be. Absolutely one of my favorite people in the wine trade.
Yeah. So favorite marketing techniques, I was thinking about this, and for me, it really relates to why I love Tablas Creek so much and the Lett family. It's when you promote a community, when the marketing is about a place, a region, a subset of winemakers, maybe doing a particular style of wine. But when people are joining with others and raising up a community, I'm in. Like, you have me, because that's raising all boats. And that's the thing that a lot of times is missing in wine. I think I highlight it, and it matters so much. I'm talking about it essentially twice, is because it's rare. It's something that wine struggles with. The infighting, whether it's stateside or abroad, you go somewhere and winemakers are bad-mouthing their neighbors. This is the worst thing for everybody. So I think the best marketing campaigns are the ones that focus on communities, be they around a style of wine, a place, whatever it is. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because that's one of the reasons why you see people like Penfolds doing, like, they're trying to recreate that digitally and having membership programs for people. And like, we do the same thing. Like, we started a membership program because we wanted our community to be larger than people just taking small A courses.
Yes.
And that's really been successful, bringing a lot of interesting people who never would take a wine program, but that are really great assets in the wine community.
Yeah.
So that's been wonderful. I agree. But my favorite is actually the non-marketing marketing, which is when people are just telling you something's awesome. And like, this is something that only works when the product is really good. And that's something that has been the classic way for people to market wine, to get a few people who are in the know, give them wines, and then they can talk about it. But we do that too at the school. You know, something's great when somebody tells you it's great, and then somebody else tells you it's great the next day. And that word of mouth, that's critical, encouraging honest conversations. That's my favorite. I can tell you my least favorite, though.
Oh, yeah, please.
It's the opposite of that. It's actually when you think it's not a marketing, but then you realize very quickly it is. Like when the authenticity just wears away right away. And that happens in the wine trade. Like, I have a wine class that you thought was a wine class, but then it's actually a sales pitch.
Yeah.
Someone's trying to sell you a Conda and Boca. Like, it's like, are you serious right now? Like, this is supposed to be wine, and I just paid money for this. And yeah, and it's like, oh, you just represent this one brand or this one region, and you're only going to talk about that, and everything else is terrible, but this is amazing. I hate that. Oh, that happens so many times.
I hate celebrity wines.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hate when a new celebrity wine comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if they are marketing themselves as clean or natural or low calorie. It drives me crazy. We do not need celebrities in this space. I think it's an old way of thinking about wine, appealing to a gatekeeper, appealing to a celebrity figure, somebody who's famous and beautiful. Gross. Yuck. I hate it.
Yeah. But when I'm a celebrity, I'm going to have my own wine.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, when people people think beautiful, they think of me, especially my beard. I just want to pet that luxurious beard and drink a wine with that beard on.
Yeah.
Right. And well, I think this is a good place to end this. If you enjoyed this, by all means, like, subscribe, rate, and review, please. It does an enormous amount of good for us. If you want to be a part of the wine trade or you just want to learn more, National Wine School is the only national school sommelier program that's geared towards the American wine industry and for American learners. So it's for you and you only. Yes, you. That's at wineschool.us.
And folks, as always, if you're in the Philadelphia area, we've talked about our home wine school, the Wine School of Philadelphia. Please stop in for a class. You'll see one of us teaching. And if you would like to catch a video of this podcast, we are posting them on our YouTube channel. That is Wine School USA.
Wine School USA.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.